Hello everyone, welcome to the second class of the first chapter in physics, that is about motion and measurement of distances. So children, in the last class we discussed about motion and measurement chapter where I have given some examples of how actually we measure different objects, right? So just to recall how much you guys would have understood in the previous class, I would like to begin this class with a small test. I know you guys are not in front of me where I can able to conduct any quiz session, but just I would like to give a small test where you can able to find out the answer from this. Okay, so it is just like not a test actually, but it will be just like a recap session. So shall we see? So there are two questions which I have asked. Try to recollect the answers for this, okay? So it will be something like an interactive session for you. So the first question is, how many parts are there in a measurement? So I'll repeat the question again. How many parts are there in a measurement? And there are four options available for you. Option A 1, option B 2, option C 3 and option D 4. So try to guess and try to recall the answer on your own. So shall we see the answer now? So let's find out. I don't think so. The answer is A. I don't think so. The answer is C. And the final answer is actually 2. The answer is B. So what are those two parts actually? The two parts are numbers and their units. Okay, so like as I said in my previous class, whenever you are measuring something like measuring the length of the table, if you keep a measuring scale, inch tape or any centimeter scale, so the length, the number which you are getting, okay, maybe for example 20, so that 20 is one part of the measurement, and the unit with which you are denoting, centimeter or millimeter or inch, whatever, that is called as the unit of measurement. So whenever you do any measurement, how many parts you are supposed to mention? You have to mention 2 parts. Okay, next, the second question. Dash is the mode of transport used in water. Okay, there are 4 options once again. Option A car, option B flight, option C train and option D ship. I think this is very basic question for you, because in the beginning when we started the lesson we did an activity. Okay, so from that I have taken. So obviously it is not car, it is not flight, it is not train, but the answer is ship. Okay, so which mode of transport we use when we want to travel in water? We use ship. Okay, so shall we do a quick recap of what we have learned in the previous class? So in the previous class we learned about the definition of measurement. So what is a measurement? Measurement means the comparison of an unknown quantity with some known quantity. What do you mean by unknown quantity? As I said earlier, if you are measuring something, the length of a table or the height or whatever, so we don't know, okay, how much is the length of the table or how much is the height of a person. So after measuring, we come to know with some known quantity, right? So we will come to know that this table length is around some 20 centimeter or 30 centimeter, whatever. Okay. And the fixed known quantity is also called as unit. So we are fixing this known quantity by denoting some units. Okay, so if we get 20, so if you are measuring in inch tape, we used to fix an unit as inch. If you are measuring using a meter scale, we fix the unit as meter. Okay, so whichever the scale you are using, whichever the mode of measurement you are using, so that unit we are supposed to fix it. And what is the third thing we discussed? As I said earlier, the result of a measurement is expressed in 2 parts. So one part is a number, we used to write the number, and the other part is the unit of measurement. Okay, unit means the millimeter or inch, centimeter, kilometer, whatever you are mentioning, whichever the unit you are using to measure, that we are supposed to use. Okay, so shall we proceed to today's class? So today we are going to discuss the part 2 of this chapter, that is motion and measurement of distances. Okay, so what will be our main learning objective? So in this module we are going to learn about standard units of measurement. Okay, so we are mainly focusing on standard units of measurement. So already I told you what is in unit. So whichever the units which you are using to express the quantity, known quantity, that is what is called a unit. Okay, it can be millimeter or centimeter or meter, whatever. So now what are all the standard units available to measure? So that we are going to learn in today's class. Okay, and at the end of this lesson, the learners will be able to learn about determining the correct measurement of length. So I'll also explain you how to actually measure any object or any length or breadth or whatever, okay, correctly without doing any mistakes. Okay, that we are going to learn in today's class. So what do you mean by standard units of measurement? See, now from 18th century we started using different devices to measure. But what about the people of the past, those who lived in Stone Age or whatever, okay, in the earlier age, ancient times? They don't have any instrument or a specific instrument or a device to measure the distance or to measure the length or breadth or height or area, whatever. So what those people used to do? They used to measure using their body parts. Okay, so like for example, if they want to measure the area of a particular land, so they used to measure using their foot. So the length of a foot they used to determine. Okay, now also we used to do, right? Like in our previous class, I hope I gave an activity. So if you guys would have done the homework, so I asked you people to measure the length of the table using your hand span. Right? If you don't have a scale, what you can do, you can use your hand span to measure the length. Likewise, if you want to measure the length of a room also, what you can do, you can simply walk on your foot. Using the length of the foot, you can measure and say, okay, this room is of 10 feet length or whatever. Okay, so the length of a foot will look something like this, as you can see here in the picture. So whichever the foot you are using, so the length from the toe till the back of your foot, okay, the area, I mean the measurement whatever is there is considered as 1 feet or 1 foot. Okay, so how much ever the foot which you are using, we can easily determine, and even you can determine width and perimeter also, that is given here. How actually we can determine the width also using your foot and perimeter also. Okay, next, they were using their fingers to measure the width of a particular object. Okay, for example, if you take little objects like the pipes or the wires, okay, so if you want to measure the width of the wire or a pipe, what you can do if you don't have any scale or anything, so you can use your finger and you can denote it using the pixel. Okay, the width of the finger. So that is what something is mentioned here, 48px. Okay, px stands for something like pixels. Okay, we can able to easily measure. The third one, distance of a step. Like for example, using the steps, especially when you are climbing somewhere. Okay, so by measuring how much steps you are climbing, you can able to tell, okay, maybe whenever you are going to any hillside or hilltop to any temples or something, you may count steps, right? So you can say, okay, this temple is some 100 steps away or 200 steps away. So likewise you can able to measure, okay, using these simpler methodologies. So in case if you don't have the instrument, so like Likewise, the ancient people, those who lived before 80s, okay, they used to measure like this. Now, how the Indus Valley civilization they measured uh, while doing any construction work. You might have heard about Indus Valley civilization, right? This is one of the greatest, what we can say, in the history of the engineering. Okay, so these people who lived during Indus Valley civilization, especially the Mohenjo-daro period and the Harappan civilization and all, their architecture will be exactly perfect. They never used any scale, they never used any kind of instruments, but using their imaginary calculation itself, they have built a lot of monuments in such a way that the measurements are very, very accurate, and it also helps you. What we can say, to follow the scientific procedures for anything, even if they are building a well, or if they are building any temples or whatever it is, it follows the scientific methodology. Okay, so likewise, you can see one of the structures of which the Indus Valley civilization people have built, they never used any instrument, they never used any scale, meter scale or whatever scale. They just used their body parts, like as I said earlier, the foot or whatever, and based on that only they built a perfectly aligned monuments where it can help you to protect from any kind of floods or whatever it is. Okay, and even it keeps you cool, the way they have built the rooms. Okay, so it keeps you cool even during summer. So like, they have made an accurate calculation and they have built the structures. So that is considered as one of the greatest achievement in the field of engineering before the engineering even came into existence, right? Okay, so children, so with this you can understand why this measurement is very, very important. If you don't measure accurately, what will happen? You cannot create a perfect structure for anything. Like if you want to, for example, if you want to buy a shirt for yourself, if you don't take accurate measurement for your shirt, it will look shabby. People will not like it, people will make fun of you, right? Oh, see, this guy is wearing a very short shirts, or they will make fun of you, like, see, this man is wearing very long coat. So like this they will make fun of you. So that is the reason why measurement is very, very accurate and very, very important. So since those people, they gave a lot of thoughts in doing measurement, even though they don't have the instruments, but to overcome this, okay, to overcome this problem, since not everybody can do this, so they have to set some standards, right, for measurement. So the people, as the technology came into existence, people started giving more importance to the measurement, and they have introduced a lot of other instruments where we can able to measure accurately. Okay, now what are all few more measurement of length using body parts. So not only foot or whatever, few more ways with which they used to measure the lengths using the body parts. For example, if you go to Egyptian civilization, who are Egypt people. So they are the ones who built a large pyramids, right, where they bury the body of the dead ones, the dead kings, though which we call them as mummy, right, or mummies. So why they have buried the body over there? The way they build the pyramid is in such a way that the body doesn't get decomposed very quickly, and they have applied some sort of chemicals over the body, especially I don't remember exactly what it is, but I came to know, as per my knowledge, they used to apply only the paste which is crushed from some apple. Okay, so they used to apply over the body so that their kings and queens body never get decomposed, and still those mummies are still over there. And why they have built that pyramidal structure is just because so that the vibrations with which it receives inside the pyramid, it never allows the body to decompose very quickly. So how they used to build such a huge pyramid? How since they don't have any scale, as I mentioned earlier, so they used to using their foot or hand only, handspan. We used to call it as handspan, or the measurement of your hand. We also call it as cubit. They named that unit as cubit. Okay. So since now also, whenever you buy any cloth, if you don't have a scale to measure, what we used to do, from the elbow, okay, to the top of your hand, I mean to the up to the fingers, they used to keep and measure, and they used to tear the cloth and give. So that unit, that distance, we call it as cubit. Okay. The same way military people, okay, those who are in army, if they want to find their target, the enemy's target, so they used to show the symbols, okay, using the fingers. For example, if they show 3 fingers, okay, as given in the picture, so which means they are just 300 miles away. Okay, so likewise they give the exact, I mean not an exact measurement, they give an accurate measurement for you, where you can able to determine the target, how far or how close the target is. If they show 1 finger, which means they are very near, maybe some 125 miles away. Okay, so likewise those people who are trained in armies, they were trained in such a way that even without using binoculars or without using any other instrument, they can able to easily calculate in mind, and they can give signals to your friends or colleagues where they can exactly determine the location of the target. Okay, so likewise these people were using instruments to measure, I mean without using instruments, they used to measure the lengths. Now when this standard unit created, it came into existence in the year 1790. The French people created a standard unit of measurement called metric system. What was that system? Metric system was introduced. And then, since metric system was not a consistent one, a metric system, it was like one country was following one system, the other country was following some other. For example, here in Asian continents and all, we followed kilogram to measure the weight, but if you go to America, they were following pounds to measure the weight. So that was one disadvantage in metric system again. So in order to avoid those conflicts, for the sake of uniformity, scientists all over the world have accepted a set of standard units of measurement. So what they thought, okay, this will not work out again if we try to use different system of measurement. So let's create a standard one where anybody in the world can able to follow this standard system of measurement, and that measurement we call it as SI units, or we can also call it as International Standard of Units. So this is what is called a SI unit. So SI units mostly comprises of these units like kilogram, meter, seconds, okay, then ampere, Kelvin, moles and candela. So these are the standard units for different measurement. Like for example, if you want to measure weight, so the standard unit for measuring weight will be kilogram. If you want to measure the length, the standard unit which has been followed worldwide is meter only. Similarly, if you want to calculate the time, the standard units which is used to measure worldwide is seconds. So likewise, they divided for everything. For temperature, Kelvin; for molecules or the number of atoms, we use moles and candela. So all these things they have determined. So that is what is called SI unit of system. So what is SI unit? SI stands for International System of Units. Okay. Now I'll tell you, first I'll discuss about how to measure the meter, how to use the meter scale. So the SI unit of length, as I have already discussed, is nothing but meter. So each meter is divided into 100 equal divisions. How many divisions will be there in a meter? 100 divisions. That is what is called centimeter. So 100 centimeter is equal to 1 meter. So that is what it denotes. And the third point, each centimeter has 10 equal divisions called millimeter, as you can see here. So if you take 10 millimeter, then it will become 1 centimeter. So from 1 to 2, how many millimeter will be there? 1 2 3 4 5 in your scale. If you see, then you will be able to easily determine. So 1 centimeter will have how many millimeters? 10 millimeters. So likewise, if you take 100 centimeter scale, then that is called as 1 meter. Okay, so this basic thing you should remember when you are measuring a length. Now I'd like to show you a small video where you can able to understand about measuring the lengths very easily. Okay, so before that, what about measuring larger distances? This is about measuring a smaller distances like table length and all. So if you want to measure larger distances, we use kilometers. We don't use the meter as the standard unit for measuring large distance. So instead we use what? Kilometer. So how much kilometer, how many meters will become 1 kilometer? So if you combine 1000 meter, so 1000 meter will be equal to 1 kilometer. So this is what we use in our bikes also. Okay, so to measure the longer distances, if you want to measure the distance from Manepadi and Ambur, we cannot measure using our own centimeter scale or meter scale. So for that only we use which meter, which unit? We use kilometer as the unit to measure longer distances. Okay, so I hope you guys would have understood up to this. Now I would like to show you a small video, 2 minutes video, to understand the nitty-gritties of measuring the lengths. Okay, so just watch this video.
Suppose 3 colorful balls are kept on this table. Each ball is of a different color. Now I want you to answer this very simple question. Which colored ball is nearer to the red ball? This one or this one? Yes, the blue ball is nearest to the red ball. How did you answer this question? From this observation, we can see that the distance between the red and the blue balls is less than the distance between the red and the green balls. For instance, say this distance is 200 centimeters and this distance is 100 centimeters. We can write it in words like this. We know that 100 centimeters is less than 200 centimeters and hence this distance is greater than this one. Okay, now let's consider the same example but a completely different situation. Here as well, we will use the same 3 balls, but now the distances between them can be different. This time, I will not draw a picture, but instead give you only the numeric values. Suppose that the distance between the red and the blue balls is 100 and the distance between the red and the green balls is 200. This is the data that we have. Again, the same question for you. Which ball will be nearer to the red ball in this case?
So this is something like problem solving technique. Okay, so here the question what they have asked is, in the previous thing you might have understood, by seeing the picture you identified, okay, the green ball was nearer to the red ball like that. But here in case if you have given only the data like this, not a picture, so how will you determine? So the distance between red ball and blue ball is 100 they have given, and the distance between red ball and green ball is 200 they have given. So which value is greater? 200 is greater, right? So obviously the distance between red ball and green ball must be greater than the red ball and blue ball. So by seeing the least value you can able to determine the distance between two different objects. This is what we call it as measuring the distance of shorter lengths. Okay, so understood?
Observe the given values here. Since the number 200 is greater than 100, the blue ball should be nearer to the red ball, right? Which colored ball is nearer to the red one? Well, you may be surprised to hear the answer to this. The answer is we simply do not know which distance is greater or lesser. We cannot say anything about the distances between the balls from any of the given values. Puzzled? Let me explain. Compare the values of distances in both the examples we saw. Did you notice any difference? Yes, there is one major point we missed. In the first example, all the distances are given in centimeters. And in the second example, there is nothing given after numbers.
So this is also very important. So if they have not denoted any units here, so since in the first example they have exactly denoted the units, that is centimeter, so you can able to easily determine the distances. But here in the second case, they have not given any units, so it will be difficult for you. You cannot easily judge and tell, okay, a red ball is, obviously you can try to tell, but it will not be correct. It may be 100 meter or it may be 100 kilometer, whatever it can be. Okay, so you cannot exactly determine, okay, which is near or which is far. Okay, so in that case, what is very important while measuring distance? Units is very important. Okay, that is why in the first class itself I told you that whenever you are doing any measurement, what should be there? There must be a number as well as what? Unit. Okay.
What is a centimeter, by the way? Yes, it's a unit of measurement. Since no unit of measurement is given in the second case, we cannot know which distance is more or less. For instance, this distance may be in centimeters, whereas this distance may be in meters. In this case, the distance between the red and the blue ball will be greater than the distance between the red and the green one. This is because 100 meters is greater than 200 centimeters. So our measurements depend on our choice of units.
So you understood now? So make sure whenever you are making any distances, even when they ask the problems in exam, you find out the units, whether the units is given or not. So by seeing the unit only, we can able to measure and tell, okay, which unit is greater or lesser, because meter is greater than centimeter, right? 100 centimeter will give you 1 meter, as I said previously. So obviously 100 meter will be greater. Now what will happen? Again the same answer will come. Red ball will be, the distance between red ball and blue ball will be greater than the red ball and green ball. Okay.
But what exactly do we mean by a unit of measurement? Keep watching our videos to know more.
Okay, so hope you guys would have understood how to exactly correct the measurement of length. I mean, you can able to determine the correct measurement of length. Okay, so how we can able to determine? So we can determine only by keeping the units of measurement. So whenever you are measuring, you should have one standard unit to measure. Okay, so that standard unit you can determine from which units? SI units. Okay, so for measuring length, what is the standard unit? Meter. So you should use meter scale or centimeter scale. Okay. Next, let us do a quick recap of what we have learned today. So as I said already, people used to measure using body parts for measuring the length, breadth and height of different objects. And for the sake of uniformity, which system was introduced? We introduced an international system of units, that is that's what we call it as SI units. And the unit of measurement of SI unit is meter. So for longer distances, we used to measure using kilometers. And there is a quick assessment for you. So try to answer to these questions. So pick up your notebook and copy these questions. These are all simple questions from today's class. So you can try to answer on your own. So the first question is 1 meter is dash centimeter. So you know how much it is. 1 meter is nothing but 100 centimeter. Okay, try to answer this. Second question, 5 kilometer is dash meter. So you need to convert this. Okay, so you know already how much meter is 1 kilometer. So based on that, you try to multiply with 5. So you will get the answer. Okay, 5 kilometer is dash meter. Then number 3, why can a pace or a footstep not be used as a standard unit of length? So this is a general question for you. Why we are using only meter scale to measure the length of or to measure the distance of any object? Why can't we use our footstep or pace to measure? Okay, so that you need to try to answer it based on your own thinking. Okay, that's what we call it as higher order thinking. Okay, so try to think and answer on your own. Okay, and post your answers in the WhatsApp group. So there is a quick home fun for you. So the home fun is nothing, a very simple activity for you which you can do it at home. So measure the height of your brother or sister, or maybe your mummy daddy. Okay, so using your hand span and then by using a meter scale. So both measurement you should take. For this, ask your brother or sister to stand with his back against a wall. He should touch the wall and stand on his back. Now measure the distance from the floor and mark on the wall exactly above his head. Okay, so first you should use your hand span to measure the height, and you should write who measured the length and length in hand span. Similar way, let all the other students also measure it, and you call your standard colleagues, I mean your friends, and try to find out the measurement the measurement which they have done. Okay, so for example, if you are doing for your brother, if you are finding out the answer of length in hand span and in centimeter, so you get the answer from your friend also and try to compare it. Okay, how much the difference it is. So it is like a home fun for you, so where you can able to easily determine, okay, the variation in the measurements, okay, of your hand span as well as your friend's hand span, and as well as the variation in meter scale. Okay, so with this I'll wind up today's session. I think I have taken some 5 minutes extra, sorry for that. Okay, so with this I will wind up today's session. I hope you guys would have understood today's session. So we'll see you in the next class. Okay, till then, take care and be safe. Okay, bye bye.